Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Narayanam Krishna Yadavaya Namaste Narasimhaya
अभी लगा है और पीछे पीछे उसका वो भी लगा दिया टाइम लगा एक बार स्नान करा दीजिए ऊपर से ठंड डाल दीजिए ऊपर से
दलिता हिरण्यकशिपु केशवधृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय नरसिंहदेव 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 जय नरसिंहदेव जय प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः राधा कृष्ण सेवा पाबो हे अभिलाषी
दोनों चरणों के बीच में
तुम्हार शरण तारा वांछा पूर्ण कृपा करी करो तारे वृंदावनवासी मोरय अभिलाष विलास कुंज देवास नयने हृपो सदा युगल रूपराशि निवेदन धर सखीरनुगत कर सेवाधिकार दिए कर निज दासी दीन कृष्ण दासे करे ए नमो राहाय श्री राधा गोविंदा प्रेमे सदा नभासी नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः
गुरु पूजा गई
श्री गुरु चरण भगवान केवल भक्ति सद्मान बंधु मुनि सावधान महते आहार प्रसादे भार ए भव तोरिया जा कृष्ण प्राप्ति होया होइते गुरुमुख पद्म वाक्य चित्ते ते करिया क्या गुरुमुख पद्म वाक्य चित्ते ते करिया क्या आरना करिहा मने आशा श्री गुरु चरणे रति ऐसे उत्तम गति जे प्रसाद पूरे सर्व आशा जे प्रसाद पूरे सर्व आशा चक्षुदान दिलो जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से चक्षुदान दिलो जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित प्रकाशित प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ होते अविद्या विनाश जाते प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ होते अविद्या विनाश जाते वेद ज्ञान जहाँ चरित श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु अधम जनर बंधु श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु अधम जनर बंधु लोकेनाथ लोकेरा जीवाना लोकनाथ लोकेरा जीवाना प्रभु करो दया देहो मोहि पद छाया ए बेजाज भूषु त्रिभुवना ए बेजाज भूषु त्रिभुवना जय प्रभुपदा 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 श्रीला प्रभुपदा जय गुरुदेवा 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 जय गुरुदेवा
You can read now.
The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens my darkened eyes and fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord birth after birth. From him ecstatic prem emanates. By him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, and the Lord and Master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto me. Give me the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds.
Sixth canto? Sixth canto, chapter 7.
माना सेटिंग में देना चाहिए ना
Canto 6, Chapter 7. Indra offends his spiritual master Brihaspati. As related in this chapter, Indra, the king of heaven, committed an offense at the feet of his spiritual master Brihaspati. Brihaspati therefore left the demigods, who then had no priest. However, at the request of the demigods, Vishwarup, the son of the Brahman Tvasta, became their priest. Once upon a time, Indra, the king of the demigods, was sitting with his wife Shachi Devi and being praised by various demigods like Siddhas and Gandharvas, where Brihaspati, the spiritual master of the demigods, entered the assembly. Indra, being too absorbed in the material opulence, forgot himself and did not respect Brihaspati, who thus became aware of Indra's pride in his material opulence, and immediately disappeared from the assembly to teach him a lesson. Indra became most repentant, understanding that because of his opulence he had forgotten to respect his spiritual master. He left the palace to beg pardon from his spiritual master, but could not find Brihaspati anywhere. Because of his disrespectful behavior toward his spiritual master, Indra lost all his opulence and was conquered by the demons, who defeated the demigods in a great fight and occupied Indra's throne. King Indra, along with the other demigods, later took shelter of Lord Brahma. Understanding the situation, Lord Brahma chastised the demigods for their offense to their spiritual master. Following Lord Brahma's orders, the demigods accepted Vishwarup, who was a Brahman and son of Tvasta, as their priest. Then they performed yajna under the priesthood of Vishwarup and were able to conquer the demons. Text 1.
हाँ ट्रांसलेशन पढ़ दो.
Maharaj Parikshit inquired from 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐭𝐫𝐚𝐜𝐿, O great sage, why did the spiritual master of the demigods, Brihaspati, reject the demigods, who were his own disciples? What offense did the demigods commit against their spiritual master? Please describe to me this incident. This 7th chapter describes how Brihaspati was offended by the demigods, how he left them and the demigods were defeated, and how the demigods, following the instructions of Lord Brahma, accepted Vishwarup as the priest to perform their sacrifice. 𝐾𝐲𝐬𝐭𝐫𝐚𝐜𝐿 Goswami said, O king, once upon a time, the king of heaven, Indra, being extremely proud because of his great opulence of the 3 worlds, transgressed the law of Vedic etiquette. Seated on his throne, he was surrounded by the Maruts, Vasus, Rudras, Adityas, Vishwadevas, Sadhyas, Ashwini Kumaras, Siddhas, and Gandharvas, and by great saintly persons. Also surrounding him were the Vidyadharas, Apsaras, Kinnars, birds, and snakes. All of them were offering Indra their respects and services, and the Apsaras and Gandharvas were dancing and singing with very sweet musical instruments. Over Indra's head was a white umbrella and effulgent as the full moon, fanned by yak-tail whisk and served with all the paraphernalia of a great king. Indra was sitting with his wife, Shachi Devi, who occupied half the throne when the great sage Brihaspati appeared in that assembly. Brihaspati, the best of the sages, was the spiritual master of Indra and the demigods, and was respected by the demigods and demons alike. Nevertheless, although Indra saw his spiritual master before him, he did not rise before his own seat and offer a seat to his spiritual master. Nor did Indra offer him a respectful welcome. Indra did nothing to show him respect. Brihaspati knew everything that would happen in the future. Seeing Indra's transgression of etiquette, he completely understood that Indra was puffed up by his material effulgence, Although able to curse Indra, he did not do so. Instead, he left the assembly in his silence, returned to his home. Indra, the king of heaven, could immediately understand his mistake. Realizing he had disrespected his spiritual master, he condemned himself in the presence of all members of the assembly. Alas, what a regrettable deed I have committed because of my lack of intelligence and my pride in my material opulence. I failed to show respect to my spiritual master when he entered this assembly, and thus I have insulted him. Although I am king of the demigods who are situated in the mode of goodness, I was proud of a little opulence and polluted by false ego. Under the circumstances, who in this world would accept such riches at the risk of falling down? Alas, I condemned my wealth and opulence. Purport. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu prayed to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, O my Lord, I do not aspire for material opulence or wealth, nor do I want a great number of followers to accept me as their leader, nor do I want a very beautiful wife to please me. I do not even want liberation. All I want, life after life, is to be a faithful servant of your Lordship. According to the laws of nature, when one is extremely opulent, one becomes degraded, and this is true both individually and collectively. The demigods are situated in the mode of goodness, but sometimes even one who is situated in such an exalted position as King Indra, the king of all the demigods, falls down because of material opulence. We are now actually seeing this in America. The entire American nation has tried to advance in material opulence without striving to produce ideal human beings. The result is that Americans are now regretting the wholesale criminality of American society and are wondering how America has become so lawless and unmanageable. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, persons who are unenlightened do not know the aim of life, which is to return home back to Godhead. Therefore, both individually and collectively, that they try to enjoy so-called material comforts and they become addicted to wine and women. The men produced in such a society are less than fourth class. They are the unwanted population known as Van Shankar. And as stated in Bhagavad Gita, an increase of Van Shankar population creates a hellish society. This is the society in which Americans now find themselves. Fortunately, however, the Hare Krishna movement has come to America and many fortunate young men are giving serious attention to this movement, which is creating ideal men of first class character, men who completely refrain from meat eating, illicit sex, intoxication, and gambling. If the American people are serious about curbing the degraded criminal life of their nation, they must take to the Krishna consciousness movement and try to create the kind of human society advised in Bhagavad Gita. They must divide their society into first class men, second class men, third class men, and fourth class men. Since they are now creating only men who are less than fourth class, how can they avoid the dangers of a criminal society? Long, long ago, Lord Indra regretted his disrespect to his spiritual master Brihaspati. Similarly, it is advised that the American people regret their mistaken advancement in civilization. They should take advice from the spiritual master, the representative of Krishna. If they do so, they will be happy and theirs will be an ideal nation to lead the entire world. If a person says one who is situated on the exalted throne of a king should not stand up to show respect to another king or a Brahman, it is to be understood that he does not know the superior religious principles. Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says in this regard that when a president or king is sitting on his throne, he does not need to show respect to everyone who comes within his assembly, but he must show respect to superiors like his spiritual master, Brahman, and Vaishnavas. There are many examples of how he should act. When Lord Krishna was sitting on his throne and Narad fortunately entered his assembly, Even Lord Krishna immediately stood up with his officers and ministers to offer respectful obeisances to Narad. Narad knew that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and Krishna knew that Narad was his devotee. But although Krishna is the Supreme Lord and Narad is the Lord's devotee, the Lord observed the religious etiquette. Since Narad was a brahmachari, a brahman, and an exalted devotee, even Krishna, while acting as a king, offered his respectful obeisances unto Narad. Such is the conduct visible in the Vedic civilization, a civilization in which people do not know how the representative of Narad and Krishna should be respected, how society should be formed, and how one should advance in Krishna consciousness. A society concerned only with manufacturing new cars and new skyscrapers every year and then breaking them to pieces and making new ones may be technological advanced, but it is not a human civilization. A human civilization is advanced when its people follow the Chaturvarnya system, the system of four orders of life. There must be ideal first class men to act as advisors, second class men to act as administrators, third class men to produce food and protect cows, and fourth class men who obey the three higher classes of society. One who does not follow the standard system of society should be considered a fifth class man. A society without Vedic laws and regulations will not be very helpful to humanity. As stated in this verse, Dharmam tena param vidhu. Such a society does not know the aim of life and the highest principle of religion. Leaders who have fallen into ignorance and who mislead people by directing them to the path of destruction, as described in the previous verse, are in effect boarding a stone boat, and so too are those who blindly follow them. A stone boat would be unable to float and would sink in the water with its passengers. Similarly, those who mislead people go to hell and their followers go with them. We, the conditioned souls, have fallen in the ocean of nescience, but the human body fortunately provides us a good opportunity to cross the ocean, because the human body is like a very good boat. When directed by a spiritual master acting as the captain, the boat can very easily cross the ocean. Furthermore, the boat is helped across by favorable winds, which are the instructions of Vedic knowledge. If one does not take advantage of all these facilities to cross the ocean of nescience, he is certainly committing suicide. One who boards a boat made of stone is doomed. To be elevated to the stage of perfection, humanity must first give up false leaders who present boards of stones. All of human society is in such a dangerous position that to rescue it must abide by the standard instructions of the Vedas. The cream of these instructions appears in the form of Bhagavad Gita. One should not take shelter of any instructions, for Bhagavad Gita gives direct instructions on how to fulfill the aim of human life. Lord Shri Krishna therefore says, Sarva dharman parityajya mam ek sharanam vraja. Give up all other processes of religion and simply surrenders to me. Even if one does not accept Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his instructions are so exalted and beneficial for humanity that if one follows his instructions, one will be saved. Otherwise, one will be cheated by unauthorized meditation and gymnastic methods of yoga. Thus, one will board a boat of stone, which will sink and drown all its passengers. Unfortunately, although the American people are extremely eager to get out of materialistic chows, they are sometimes found to patronize the makers of stone boats. That will not help them. They must take the proper boat offered by Krishna in the form of Krishna consciousness movement. Then they will be easily saved. In this regard, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments, if society is guided by political diplomacy with one nation maneuvering against another, it will certainly sink like a stone boat. Political maneuvering and diplomacy will not save human society. People must take to Krishna consciousness to understand the aim of life, to understand God, and to fulfill the human mission. King Indra said, therefore, with great frankness and without duplicity, I shall now bow my head at the lotus feet of Brihaspati, the spiritual master of the demigods. Because he is the mode of goodness, he is in the mode of goodness, he is fully aware of all knowledge and is the best of the Brahmanas. Now I shall touch his lotus feet and offer my obeisances unto him to try to satisfy him. Coming to his senses, Indra realized that he was not a very sincere disciple of his spiritual master Brihaspati. Therefore, he decided that henceforward he would be Nishtha non-duplicitous. He decided to touch his head to the feet of his spiritual master. From this example, we should learn this principle enunciated by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. By the mercy of the spiritual master, one is benedicted by the mercy of Krishna. Without the grace of the spiritual master, one cannot make any advancement. A disciple should never be a hypocrite or be unfaithful to his spiritual master. In Srimad Bhagavatam, the spiritual master is also called Acharya. The Supreme Personality of Godhead says that one should respect the spiritual master, accepting him as the Lord himself. One should not disrespect the Acharya at any time. One should never think the Acharya an ordinary person. Familiarity sometimes breeds contempt, but one should be very careful in one's dealings with the Acharya. The Acharya is a perfect Brahman and has unlimited intelligence in guiding the activities of his disciple. Therefore, Krishna advises in Bhagavad Gita, just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. One should fully surrender unto the spiritual master, and with service one should approach him for further spiritual enlightenment. While Indra, the king of the demigods, thought in this way and repented in his own assembly, Brihaspati, the most powerful spiritual master, understood his mind. Thus, he became invisible to Indra and left home, for Brihaspati was spiritually more powerful than King Indra. Although Indra searched vigorously with the assistance of the other demigods, he could not find Brihaspati. Then Indra thought, alas, my spiritual master has become dissatisfied with me, and now I have no means of achieving good fortune. Although Indra was surrounded by demigods, he could not find peace of mind. Hearing of the pitiable condition of King Indra, the demons, following the instructions of their guru Shukracharya, equipped themselves with weapons and declared war against the demigods. The demigods' heads, thighs, and arms and other parts of the bodies were injured by the sharp arrows of the demons. The demigods, headed by Indra, saw no other course than to immediately approach Lord Brahma with bowed heads for shelter and proper instructions. When the most powerful Lord Brahma saw the demigods coming toward him, their bodies gravely injured by the arrows of the demons, he pacified them by his great causeless mercy and spoke as follows. Lord Brahma said, O best of the demigods, unfortunately, because of madness resulting from your material opulence, you failed to receive Brihaspati properly when he came to your assembly. Because he is aware of the Supreme Brahman and fully in control of his senses, he is the best of the Brahmanas. Therefore, it is very astonishing that you have acted impotently toward him.
टाइम क्या हुआ?
6:10.
6:10.
Lord Brahma recognized the Brahmanical qualifications of Brihaspati, who was the spiritual master of the demigods, because of his awareness of the Supreme Brahman. Brihaspati was very much in control of his senses and mind, and therefore he was the most qualified Brahman. Lord Brahma chastised the demigods for not properly respecting this Brahman, who was their guru. Lord Brahma wanted to impress upon the demigods that one's guru should not be disrespected under any circumstances. When Brihaspati entered the assembly of the demigods, they and their king Indra took him for granted. Since he came every day, they thought they did not need to show him special respect. As it is said, familiarity breeds contempt. Being very much displeased, Brihaspati immediately left Indra's palace. Thus all the demigods headed by Indra became offenders at the lotus feet of Brihaspati, and Lord Brahma, being aware of this, condemned their neglect. In a song we sing every day, Narottam Das Thakur says, चक्षुदान दिलो जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से. The Guru gives spiritual insight to the disciple, and therefore the Guru should be considered his master. Under no circumstances should the Guru be disrespected, but the demigods, being puffed up by their material possessions, were disrespectful to their Guru. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam advises the Acharya should always be offered respectful obeisances. One should never envy the Acharya, considering him an ordinary human being. Because of your misbehavior toward Brahaspati, you have been defeated by the demons. My dear demigods, since the demons were weak, having been defeated by you several times, how else could you, who were so advanced in opulence, be defeated by them? The Devas are celebrated for fighting with the Asuras perpetually. In such fights, the Asuras were always defeated, but this time the demigods were defeated. Why? The reason, as stated here, was that they had offended their spiritual master. Their impudent disrespect of their spiritual master was the cause of their defeat by the demons. As stated in the Shastras, when one disrespects a respectable superior, one loses his longevity and results of his pious activities, and in this way one is degraded. O Indra, your enemies, the demons, were extremely weak because of their disrespect toward Shukracharya. But since they had now worshipped Shukracharya with great devotion, they have again become powerful. By their devotion to Shukracharya, they have increased their strength so much that now they are even able to easily seize the abode from me. Lord Brahma wanted to point out to the demigods that by the strength of the Guru, one can become most powerful within this world, and by the displeasure of the Guru, one can lose everything. This is confirmed by the song of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Yasya prasadat bhagavad prasado, yasya prasada nagati kutopi. By the mercy of the spiritual master, one is benedicted by the mercy of Kṛṣṇa. Without the grace of the spiritual master, one cannot make any advancement. Although the demons are insignificant in comparison to Lord Brahma, because of the strength of their Guru, they were so powerful that they could even seize Brahmalok from the Lord Brahma. We therefore pray to the spiritual master. By the mercy of the Guru, even a dumb man can become the greatest orator, and even a lame man can cross mountains. As advised by the Lord Brahma, one should remember the sharp injunction if one desires success in his life. Because of their firm determination to follow the instructions of Shukracharya, his disciples, the demons, are now unconcerned about the demigods. In fact, kings or others who have determined faith in the mercy of Brahmanas, cows, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead Kṛṣṇa, and who always worship these three, are always strong in their position. From the instructions of Lord Brahma, it is understood that everyone should very faithfully worship the Brahmanas, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the cows. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is Gro Brahman Hitaicha. He is always very kind to cows and Brahmanas. Therefore, one who worships Govinda must satisfy him by worshipping the Brahmanas and cows. If a government worships the Brahmanas, the cows, and Kṛṣṇa, Govinda, it is never defeated anywhere. Otherwise, it must always be defeated and condemned everywhere. At the present moment, all over the world, governments have no respect for Brahmanas, cows, and Govinda, and consequently, there are chaotic conditions all over the world. In summary, although the demigods were very powerful in material opulence, the demons defeated them in battle because the demigods had behaved disrespectfully toward the Brahman, Brahaspati, who was their spiritual master. O demigods, I instruct you to approach Vishwarup, the son of Tvastra, and accept him as your Guru. He is a pure and very powerful Brahman, undergoing austerity and penances. Pleased by your worship, he will fulfill your desire, provides that you tolerate his being inclined to side with the demons. Lord Brahma advised the demigods to accept the son of Tvastra as their spiritual master, although he was always inclined toward the benefit of the Asuras. Srila 𝐾𝐲𝐬𝐭𝐫𝐚𝐜𝐿 Goswami continued, thus advised by Lord Brahma and relieved of their anxiety, all the demigods went to the sage Vishwarup, the son of Tvasta. My dear king, they embraced him and spoke as follows. The demigods said, Beloved Vishwarup, may there be all good fortune for you. We, the demigods, have come to your ashram as your guest. Please try to fulfill our desires according to the same, since we are on the level of your parents. O Brahman, the highest duty of a son, even though he has sons of his own, is to serve his parents, and what to speak of a son who is a brahmachari. The Acharya, the spiritual master who teaches all the Vedic knowledge and gives initiation by offering the sacred thread, is the personification of all the Vedas. Similarly, a father personifies Lord Brahma, a brother King Indra, a mother the planet Earth, and a sister Mercy. A guest personifies religious principles, an invited guest personifies the demigod Agni, and all living entities personify Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. According to the moral instructions of Chanakya Pandit, one should observe all living entities to be on the same level as oneself. This means that no one should be neglected as inferior, because Paramatma is seated in everyone's body. Everyone should be respected as a temple of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This verse describes the different ways in which one should respect a guru, a father, a brother, a sister, a guest, and so on. Dear son, we have been defeated by our enemies and therefore we are very much aggrieved. Please mercifully fulfill our desires by relieving our stress through the strength of your austerities. Please fulfill our prayers. Since you are completely aware of the Supreme Brahman, you are a perfect Brahman, and therefore you are the spiritual master of all orders of life. We accept you as our spiritual master and director, so that by the power of your austerity we may easily defeat the enemies who have conquered us. One must approach a particular type of guru to execute a particular type of duty. Therefore, although Vishwarupa was inferior to the demigods accepted him as a guru to conquer the demons. The demigods continued, Do not fear criticism for being younger than us. Such etiquette does not apply in regard to material mantras. Except in relationship to Vedic mantras, seniority is determined by age, but one may offer respectful obeisances even to a younger person who is advanced in chanting Vedic mantras. Therefore, although you are junior in relationship to us, you may become our priest without hesitation. It is said, one may be senior without being advanced in age. Even if one is not old, one means seniority if he is senior in knowledge. Vishwarupa was junior in relationship to the demigods because he was their nephew. But the demigods wanted to accept him as a priest and therefore he would have to accept obeisances from them. The demigods explained that this should not be a cause for hesitation. He should become their priest because he was advanced in Vedic knowledge. Similarly, Chanakya Pandit advises, one may accept education from a member of a lower social order. The Brahmanas, the member of the most elevated one, are teachers, but a person in a lower family, such a family of Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, or even Shudras, may be accepted as a teacher if he has knowledge. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu approved of this when he expressed this opinion before Ramanand Rai. It does not matter whether one is a Brahman, Shudra, Grahastha or Sannyasi. These are all material designations. A spiritually advanced person has nothing to do with self-designation. Therefore, if one is advanced in the science of Krishna consciousness, regardless of his position in human society, he may become a spiritual master. Shukdev Goswami continued.
टाइम क्या हुआ?
6:20. Shukdev Goswami continued, when all the demigods requested the great Vishwarup to be their priest, Vishwarup, who was advanced in austerities, was very pleased. He replied to them as follows. Shri Vishwarup said, O demigods, although the acceptance of priesthood is decried as causing the loss of previously acquired Brahmanical power, How can someone like me refuse to accept your personal request? You are all exalted commanders of the entire universe. I am your disciple and must take many lessons from you. Therefore, I cannot refuse you. I must agree for your own benefit, for my own benefit. The professions of a qualified Brahman are Pathan, Yajna, Dan, and Pratigraha. The word Yajna means that a Brahman becomes the priest of the populace for the sake of their elevation. One who accepts the post of spiritual master does the actions of Yajman, the one on whose behalf he performs yajna. Thus, the result of the pious acts previously performed by the priest or spiritual master are diminished. Therefore, priesthood is not accepted by learned Brahman. Nevertheless, the great learned Brahman Vishnu became the priest of the demigods because of his profound respect for them. O exalted governors of various planets, the true Brahman, who has no material possessions, maintains himself by the profession of accepting Silonchan. In other words, he picks up grains left in the field and on the ground in the wholesale marketplace. By this means, householder Brahmanas who always abide by the principles of austerity and penance maintain themselves and their families and perform all necessary pious activities. A Brahman who desires to achieve happiness by gaining wealth through professional priesthood must certainly have a very low mind. How shall I accept such priesthood? A first-class Brahman does not accept any rewards from his disciples or yajmans. Practicing austerities and penances, he instead goes to the agriculture field and collects food grains left by the agriculturist to be collected by Brahmanas. Similarly, such Brahmins go to marketplace where grains are purchased and sold wholesale, and where they collect grains left by the merchants. In this way, such exalted Brahmins maintain their body and families. Such priests never demand anything from their disciples to live in opulence, imitating Kshatriyas or Vaishyas. In other words, a pure Brahman voluntarily accepts a life of poverty and lives in complete dependence on the mercy of the Lord. Not very many years ago, a Brahman in Krishnanagar near Navadip was offered some help from the local zamindar, Raja Krishnachandra. The Brahman refused to accept the help. He said that since he was very happy in his householder life, taking rice given by his disciples and cooking vegetables of turmeric leaves, there was no question of taking help from the zamindar. The conclusion is that although a Brahman may receive much opulence from his disciples, he should not utilize the rewards of his priesthood for his spiritual benefit, personal benefit. He must use them for the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All of you are my superiors. Therefore, although accepting priesthood is sometimes reproachable, I cannot refuse even a small request from you. I agree to be your priest. I shall fulfill your request by dedicating my life and possessions. Shri Shukdev Goswami continued, O king, after making this promise to the demigods, the exalted Vishwarup, surrounded by the demigods, performed the necessary priestly activities with great enthusiasm and attention. The word samadhin is very important. Samadhi means complete absorption with an undiverted mind. Vishwarup, who was a most learned Brahman, not only accepted the request of demigods but took their request seriously and performed the activities of priesthood with an undiverted mind. In other words, he accepted the priesthood not for material gain but to profit the demigods. Such is the duty of a priest. The word pura means family and hita means benefit. Thus, the word purohit indicates that priest is the well-wisher of the family. Although meaning of the word pura is first, a priest's first duty is to see that his disciples benefit spiritually and materially by all means. Thus he is satisfied. A priest should never be interested in performing Vedic rituals for his personal benefit. The opulence of the demons, who are generally known as the enemies of the demigods, was protected by the talents and tactics of Shukracharya. But Vishnu, who was most powerful, composed a protective prayer known as the Narayan Kavach. By this intelligent mantra, he took away the opulence of the demons and gave it to Mahendra, the king of heaven. The distinction between the demigods and demons is that demigods are all devotees of Lord Vishnu, whereas demons are devotees of demigods like Lord Shiva, Goddess Kali and Goddess Durga. Sometimes the demons are also devotees of Lord Brahma. For example, Hiranyakashipu was a devotee of Lord Brahma, Ravana was a devotee of Lord Shiva, and Mahishasur was a devotee of Goddess Durga. The demigods are devotees of Lord Vishnu, whereas the demons are always against the Vishnu Bhaktas or Vaishnavas. To oppose the Vaishnavas, the demons become devotees of Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, Kali, Durga, and so on. In the days of yore, many long years ago, there was animosity between the Devas and Asuras, and the same spirit still continues, for the devotees of Lord Shiva and Goddess Durga are always envious of Vaishnavas, who are devotees of Lord Vishnu. This strain between the devotees of Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu has always existed. In the higher planetary system, the fights between the demons and the demigods continue for a long time. Herein we see that Vishwarup made for the demigods a protective covering saturated with the Vishnu mantra. Sometimes the Vishnu mantra is called Vishnu Jvar and Shiv mantra is called Shiv Jvar. We find in the Shastras that sometimes the Shiv Jvar and Vishnu Jvar are employed in the fights between the demons and the demigods. The word Surdavisam, which in this verse means of the enemies of the demigods, also refers to the atheist. Srimad Bhagavatam elsewhere says that Lord Buddha appeared for the purpose of bewildering the demons or atheists. The Supreme Personality of Godhead always awards his benediction to devotees. The Lord himself confirmed this in Bhagavad Gita. Vishwarup, who was most liberal, spoke to King Indra, the secret hymn that protected Indra and conquered his military power of the demons. Purport. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport, the 6th canto, 7th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Indra offended his spiritual master Praspati. Chapter 8. The Narayan Kavach Shield. This chapter describes how Indra, the king of heaven, was victorious over the soldiers of the demons, and it also describes the shield of Vishnu mantra. To take protection from this shield, one must first touch kusha grass and wash one's mouth with Achman mantras. One should observe silence and then place the 8th slave Vishnu mantra on the part of his body and place the 12th slave mantra on his hands. The 8th slave mantra is Om Namo Narayan. This mantra should be distributed all over the front and back to the body. The 12th slave mantra, which begins with the Pranav Omkar, is Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. One slave should be placed on each of the fingers and should be preceded by the Pranav Omkar. Thereafter, one must chant Om Vishnave Namaha, which is a 6th syllable mantra. One must progressively place the syllables of the mantras on the heart, the head, between the 2 eyebrows, on the shikha and between the eyes. Then one should chant Maha Astraphat, and with this mantra protect himself from all directions. One who has not risen to the level of the Dev cannot chant this mantra. According to this direction of the Shastras, one must bring himself qualitatively non-different from the Supreme. After finishing this dedication, one must offer a prayer to the 8-armed Lord Vishnu who sits on the shoulder of Garud Dev. One should also has to think of the fish incarnation, Vaman, Kurm, Narsimha, Varaha, Purushottam, Ramchandra, the elder brother of Lakshman, Nar Narayan, Dattatreya, an empowered incarnation, Kapil, Sanat Kumar, Hayagriva, Narad Dev, the incarnation of a devotee, Dhanvantari, Rishabdev, Yajna, Balaram, Vyasadev, Buddhadev and Keshav. One should also think of Govinda, the master of Vrindavan, and one should think of Narayan, the master of the spiritual sky. One should think of Madhusudan, Sridham, Madhav, Rishikesh, Padmanabh, Janardhan, Damodar, and Vishveshwar, as well as the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna himself. After offering prayers to the Lord's personal expansions known as the Swams and Shakatyavishavatars, one should pray to the weapons of Lord Vishnu Narayan, such as the Sudarshan, Gada, Shank, and bow. After explaining this process, 𝐾𝐲𝐬𝐭𝐫𝐚𝐜𝐿 Goswami told Maharaj Parikshit how Vishwarup, the brother of Vritasur, described the glories of the Narayan Kavach to Indra. King Parikshit inquired from 𝐾𝐲𝐬𝐭𝐫𝐚𝐜𝐿 Goswami, "My lord, kindly explain the Vishnu mantra, armor that protected King Indra and enabled him to conquer his enemies, along with their carriers, and enjoy the opulence of the three worlds. Please explain to me that Narayan armor by which King Indra achieved a success in battle, conquering the enemies who were endeavoring to kill him." Sri 𝐾𝐲𝐬𝐭𝐫𝐚𝐜𝐿 Goswami said, "King Indra, the leader of the demigods, inquired by the armor known as Narayan Kavach from Vishwarup, who was engaged by the demigods as their first priest. Please hear Vishwarup's reply with great attention."
हो गया तुम चला
Vishwarup said, "If some form of fear arrives, one should first wash his hands and legs clean and then perform Achman by chanting this mantra. Om apavitrai pavitro sarvavastam gadopiva yasmet pundarikaksha sabhahyabhyantra shuchi. Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu. Then one should touch Kushagrass and sit gravely and silently facing north. When completely purified, one should touch the mantra composed of 8 syllables to the 8th part of his body and touch the mantras composed of 12 syllables to his hands. Thus, in the following manner, he should bind himself with the Narayan, coat of my armor. First, while chanting a mantra composed of 8 syllables, beginning with the pranav, the syllable Om, one should touch his feet to 8 part of his body, starting with the 2 feet and progressively systematically to the knees, thighs, abdomen, heart, chest, mouth, and head. Then one should chant the mantra in reverse, beginning from the last syllable, while touching the parts of his body in the reverse order. These two processes are known as Utpatti Nyas and Samhar Nyas respectively. Then one should chant the mantra composed of 12 syllables. Preceding each syllable by the Omkar, one should place the syllables of the mantras on the tips of the fingers, beginning with the index finger of the right hand and concluded with the index finger of the left. The 4 remaining syllables should be placed on the joints of the thumbs. One must then chant the mantra of 6 syllables, Om Vishnave Namaha. One should place the syllable Om on his heart and syllable VI on the top of his head, the syllable S between his eyebrows, the syllable N on his tuft of hair, and the syllable VE between his eyes. The chanter of the mantra should then place the syllable N on all the joints of his body and meditate on the syllable as being a weapon. He should thus become the perfect personification of the mantra. Thereafter, adding the visarga to the final syllable, Ma, he should chant the mantras Ma, Astra, Pat in all directions, beginning from the east. In this way, all directions will be bound by the protective armor of the mantra. After finishing this chanting, one should think himself qualitatively one with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is full in 6 opulences and is worthy to be meditated upon. Then one should chant the following protective prayer to Lord Narayan, the Narayan Kavach. The Supreme Lord, who sits on the back of the bird Garud, touching him with his lotus feet, holds 8 weapons, the conch shell, disc, shield, sword, club, arrows, bow, and ropes. May that Supreme Personality of Godhead protect me at all times with his 8 arms. He is all powerful because he fully possesses the 8 mystic powers. Thinking oneself one with the Supreme is called Ahangropasan. Although Ahangropasan, one does not become God, but he thinks of himself as qualitatively one with the Supreme. Understanding that as a spirit soul he is equal in quality to the Supreme Soul, the way the water of a river is of the same nature as the water of the sea, one should meditate upon the Supreme Lord, as described in the verse, and seek his protection.
Vishnu Prabhu.